So in the last video I visited Turin Motor Museum, went as far as I could in the direction of Monaco while the sun was still up, and stayed in an Airbnb in a ranch. Yup, those are oats. And the next morning and the next part of the ride ended up here. What had happened was that I had switched off the mobile data for some reason, and I was relying on Google Maps GPS location that led me to these goat trails. It started with a relatively normal gravel road and the hope that it will soon turn into nice, smooth tarmac. But of course, it just kept getting worse. I think I've come to the territory of totally different kind of bike. I was not prepared for this. Fortunately, I have the raincoat, but the road has turned into this rocky off-road. It's definitely for different kind of adventure bike, not for the street bike. It feels very slippery, very wet, and it is right on the ridge. At some point I started having a premonition that I won't be able to continue this way and will have to come all the way back on these slippery gravel roads. And guess what? I did reach dead end after an hour or so.
I don't know where that goes.
Obviously my motorcycle isn't meant for such conditions. It wasn't enjoyable at all, as it would have been on an adventure bike, plus I was already wet and cold. But on the upside, the views were beautiful. And it could have been worse. I hadn't run out of gasoline or punctured the tire or dropped the bike, and I did manage to find an alternative road that finally led me to some cow settlement. It indicated that civilization should be somewhere nearby, and the road got better once more. Alright, so in this environment, adventure bike totally makes sense, because first of all, they usually have drive shafts, and now my chain is totally dirty and sandy. Secondly, the key doesn't seem to go in as smoothly anymore, so it will have to be cleaned somehow. So these adventure bikes usually have those aluminum boxes with a different kind of closing mechanism. So yeah, I hope my motorcycle will forgive me this mistake, but otherwise when I stop worrying about the motorcycle so much, I understand how beautiful this environment is. There are already some cars and some people going hiking. This could be different kind of tourism. I was just not prepared for that. I was mostly prepared for tarmac roads and south of France kind of experience. Maybe next time with another kind of motorcycle or off-road vehicle. Actually, with a motorcycle it's kind of okay, because even where I encountered some puddles or rocks, it's possible to go around them. You just need a very narrow space to squeeze through. Off-road capability is not necessarily like a priority if you are not specifically wanting to go through the puddles and through the challenging bits. And with a light vehicle with low clearance, it's not advisable at all, and I might actually have hit the bottom of my bike once. I really hope it's not the exhaust manifold, because it's kind of an expensive part. Because the clearance on this bike is quite low, and I think it might have been the exhaust. Fuck. Alright, I was able to find a gas station where to drink warm coffee and have some avocado toast. Overall, it was a bit of a scare, and I got to test out my waterproof suitcases, which in the end turned out not to be so waterproof. Eventually I got to France, skipping Monaco, and stayed in a hotel in Cannes. I dried my clothes, had a little rest, and the weather next morning was nice and sunny once more. It is warm, 22 degrees Celsius, sunny, and I'm here at the Soul Service car wash to make my motorcycle clean again. I'll wash the chain, lube it, and we'll be ready to go to Montpellier. On the way there is Marseille. Limbo. Anyway, the chain is a little bit rusty. I just noticed that under the seat everything is wet and with sand. Off-road is definitely not something this motorcycle likes. neither is rain. Although it might have been the pressure wash. I have to say I hated applying this chain lube. I bought it because it takes a bit less space than a spray can, but it is very thick and takes a long time to apply. I even tried warming it up next to the engine block to make it thinner, but it didn't help a lot. After this I went to Montpellier to my favorite French bakery. The way there was crawling with police for some reason, but in the end I arrived at the nice, popular hostel successfully with no fines or accidents. So that was a pleasant night. I got lucky and the hostel room had no other inhabitant except for me. It was a really nice evening there with music, bar and everything. So now I've come to the center of Montpellier, and it's quite convenient with a motorcycle when you always can find some parking spaces specifically for motorcycles which are free. Of course there is an exemption zone, low emission zone in these larger cities. Most likely if someone wanted to they could find me, but usually motorcycles fly under the radar, so they are not checked that often. I intend to do that in Lisbon as well. Shall see how it goes. It's not that I'm not willing to pay, it's just the hassle of administrative work. First I would have to get the identification number, and only then I could apply for that sticker, and by the time maybe my trip will be already over. Or you have to plan things in a timely manner, which I don't. I just noticed there is another Suzuki Bandit. It is an older model, but they tend to lock the bikes to poles, and usually they also have this brake disc lock. So apparently theft is common here. I should probably find a motorcycle store to get one for myself as well. But yeah, so far so good. Let's go for some hefty breakfast. Next I'm going to Spain, Pyrenees, to enjoy some twisty mountain roads and attempt wild camping. See you in the next video.